Hello YouTube. It's been a while since I've had any time to record a video giving my thoughts about anything that's been going on in esports. As I'm sure a lot of you will know, I've got a very full schedule at the moment in terms of shows. I do a show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then by the time it gets to Friday, I'm usually traveling off to an event somewhere. So it's been an incredibly busy period. You know, it's the summer. This is when all the events happen. But I had to sit down and just find the time to record a video about this latest development, which was the League of Legends developers Riot Games. They made a post called Riot Please by Banksy and Scuttlecris, which they describe as an experimental blog to talk about the priorities and values that influence what we're doing. And I am aghast at what I was reading. They should have called this post Naked Gun 33 in the third, not just because it's a fucking comedy, but because it is the final insult, and should be to a lot of League of Legends players. And I've gauged the reaction on social media, gauged the reaction from pro players. Seems absolutely unreal, really, that Riot would basically go out and bat for their particular viewpoint on this, when clearly there's an abundance of people who think they're wrong, and this includes some of the people that have ultimately helped put their game on the map. So let's just start. First off, they did a forward, and the forward says, through the years we've been consistently surprised, sometimes overwhelmed by the passion of the community around us, and this is one of those times. You'd think we'd have acclimatized by now. And this is like a very sort of passive-aggressive statement to open up the blog with, because ultimately what they're saying is we're overwhelmed by the passion of the community around us. That means we're overwhelmed by the criticism. That's ultimately what they're saying. Passion. It's just a nice way of saying you guys are way too critical of us. And this is one of those times we're really overwhelmed, i.e. overwhelmed we've had to step in and directly address you. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the horror of having to write some pithy little blog just to let people know, your customers ultimately, just to let them know what you're doing, what your priorities are, what the future development of the game might be. My heart bleeds for you guys. It's quite telling, I think, that they used the term Riot Please, which is of course a derogatory term used to dismiss any criticism or any requests or demands for bug fixes or whatever, which basically makes all of you sound really unreasonable, really irrational. And of course you're not. You want the game to be perfect. You want it to deliver the experience you ultimately play it for. And again, I find this incredible that they would even be so transparently derogatory. So anyway, they say, let's kick things off with a landscape. And they say, for a game like League, we're not delivering on features at a fast enough rate. We agree. No excuse intended, and we've said this before, but we're deep, deep in the weeds with all of our developers, engineers, designers, artists, etc., cleaning up the tech debt we've picked up over the past 6 years. When we first started working on League, our optimistic target was to support 20,000 players, and in the years before launch, we built a scrappy platform to do just that. It goes without saying that now we need a very, very different architecture to support 67 plus million players, and the act of revamping that work without tipping everything over is what we're talking about when we say we're paying off our tech debt. So I'm really intrigued as to what exactly this entails. I mean, this isn't explained very well in the subsequent paragraphs, which I won't bore you with because ultimately it's the usual bullshit. But what they're effectively saying is that they built a substandard product to begin with because they never expected to succeed. Now, I don't really consider that a valid excuse for failure 6 years later. I don't think that's reasonable at all. In fact, I think if an airline had planes that were dropping out the sky, and they said, well, you have to understand, we developed that technology at a time when flight was new, and, that's why there's a 50-50 chance every time you get on one of our planes that it's not even going to make it to its destination and crash in a fiery ball into the sea. But we are working on that tech debt. We're working on that tech debt. It's just not good enough, is it? Now, obviously, that's super extreme. But let's just, and deliberately so, because I like to be funny about these things. But let's just be honest here. If any business, if their ongoing excuse for failure to deliver a acceptable product was that, well, we built a substandard one to begin with because we never expected it to succeed, and that's what they're saying here, that literally, yeah, it could support 20,000 people, but not 67 million. That is just not good enough, is it? I mean, we can all agree that's a ridiculous excuse to even peddle out. And they continually talk about this tech debt. Ultimately, what it means is we were fucking chances. We got a bunch of venture capital. We made a fucking shitty game. And I used to play the League of Legends beta. I mean, it was pretty fucking bad, if anyone remembers it, actually. And, one of the reasons I was convinced it would never take off was because of that. I really underestimated just how hard Riot would push things, and how much they would sort of bribe and incentivize personalities within esports to basically pick up the game. But if we were just talking about the game itself, it would never have succeeded. Never. Even as a free-to-play, it would never have really took off in the West without that extra push of getting streamers on board, getting personalities on board, basically throwing money at talent for endorsement purposes. Because the game was garbage. Now, they've done a lot of work on the game. It's a lot better than it was when it first came out. But ultimately, the foundations on which it was built, they've never been addressed. And this is the problem. Riot are caught in this fucking forward momentum where ultimately they just can't go back and scrap the foundations. Like right now, the house is just a rickety old piece of shit building. And the only way you're going to rebuild anything good is demolish it. What Riot are doing is they're putting a lick of paint over it and hoping nobody notices. You're going to have to fucking bite the bullet at some point, Riot Games. But I guess they're worried about watching those little bags of money just fly out the window. So in the meantime, everyone has to suffer. These excuses are continually fucking peddled out. And then they go on to even say, hey, but we've done all this cool stuff. We've made seasonal changes every year, which is just game balance. You're supposed to do that, mate, to a fucking MOBA. We've had a champion mastery. Yet again, real basic feature that would be on any online game. They added a persistent profile and leveling up. Not even sure why you overlooked that, because it's, again, we've talked about this in other videos, but that waste of time when you lose a game and there is just nothing, you gain nothing from having played, that's what leads to a lot of the frustration and toxicity that you constantly talk about. We added Friend Finder, a feature nobody fucking wanted and actually makes most people kind of weird and fucking bit nervous about it. We added Earth Mode, big fucking wank about that. We've done the harrowing Shreema, the Ascension. Yeah, you've padded out your lore. Well done, well done. Like, a fucking child with some crayons could have fucking come up with some of the storylines. I mean, come the fuck on. We've added new champs. Let's talk about skins, mate. You've added 57 of them. You're deliberately skirting round the skins issue here, aren't you? Almost as if you didn't want to mention it. We've added more champion updates more often, more esports. I'm not even sure what that term means. More esports. I mean, like what? More events? More what exactly? Whatever. New HUD improvements. Yeah, people really wanted those. Really wanted those. And upgrades to player reform and rewards. Yeah, brilliant. Again, now people get banned by a robot for saying cunt. That's brilliant, isn't it? Well done. Well done. So, all of this stuff, again, it's like, they talk about the deficiencies, and you think, okay, well, this is going to be an admission, but it always comes wrapped in this package. Like, but look at all the cool stuff we've done. No one really gives a fuck about the cool stuff, ultimately. It's like putting the icing on a cake. If the cake is made out of shit, don't expect everyone at the birthday party to be like, can't wait for next year, you know what I mean? Because they're eating shit with icing on. You've got to get the basis right. You've got to get the foundations right. You've got a fucking buggy client, which fucking, people really struggle with it logging in and out. Your security was a mess up until recently. You don't even provide servers for a big chunk of the player base, and they have to play at a greatly reduced level of enjoyment because you simply haven't got round to it. We used to have so much off time in the EU West, and we got promised data centers month after month, promised rewards that we never got. I mean, so the fundamentals are you have to be able to have a client that's stable. You need to be able to log into the game, get on the servers, and play the fucking game. And actually, you failed in delivering a smooth process for that. Every other online game I've played, I could not think of one that even has half the problems that League of Legends do. I literally can't. I've not played it. That isn't to say it doesn't exist. I'm sure there's loads of shitty free-to-play games that do have problems like that. But ultimately, when you've made all this money and you're backed by one of the biggest companies in China, you've got to be able to fix this situation. There's just no rationale behind saying that that we can't do this because of tech debt. Anyway, they go on to say, well, what does this mean? And it's good that they explain it because ultimately it's a load of bullshit. It's a deliberate use of jargon and it's designed to obfuscate just how fucked up things are and to sort of browbeat you, bewilder you, and be like, oh, right, Riot are talking to us. This is great. They're talking to us and it's real clever and there's big words and everything. They're not saying anything of substance, by the way. There's nothing in here worth even hearing. There's a few things that reveal true intentions. But generally it's bullshit. It's fucking meaningless. So they say we need to pay off our tech debt. League is a constantly evolving experience that we're committed to improving and supporting. That means building out systems that can be worked on by hundreds of developers at a time, creating tech and processes so we can efficiently roll out updates to thousands of servers in 12 different regions, and creating a hardware and software architecture that can support millions of players at once. This isn't an easy task, nor will it be accomplished quickly. Great. Good news, everyone. I mean, you haven't even explained how you're going to do it. What's your plan? Who's going to bail you out of the tech debt? Because all I see is you recruiting anyone that buys into your fucking social justice warrior bullshit. You're focusing on the fucking tribunal and banning people and all this weird, creepy shit. And yet, I haven't seen this. And the law, you hired the Warhammer dude. Well done. But where's the big hires that are going to renew the client? What happened to the guy who designed the Wintermint client? Something that everybody recognized as being a fucking massive improvement. You came in, hired that guy, killed the project. Nothing's been heard of since. Almost as if you were just basically paying that person not to improve your client. And I think that's the biggest frustration, and we'll come to that a little bit more when we get on to talking about this Sandbox bullshit. But it seems actually that anyone that's been able to do anything that's good and a cool idea and actually just in their bedroom code it and you hate that. It's like it undermines Riot Games and how awesome they are. And it does actually, because if one guy can do that with no fucking resources and just a dream and just the know-how and just invests all the time into it and it's a passion project, what the fuck are you guys doing when you got money coming out your ass? Almost 2,000 employees or whatever it is worldwide, more than any other games developer I can think of, and you've only got one game and all of them have multiple games. Why is it they can do it but you can't? So yeah, it does undermine you. No wonder. Make them go away. Give them money. The people must not know what Riot are all about. It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? And then it says we want to pick the right projects that we hope players love. Just because we have a lot of fundamentals to rebuild doesn't mean we should shut down everything else. No one ever suggested that, by the way. No one. No one's ever said that. We just want you to fucking reallocate your resources in a sensible manner. That's all anyone's ever wanted. With things like the new HUD, new skins at a higher quality bar, new champions and champion updates, and an ever-growing esports scene to support, we're going to keep delivering and improving on delivering where we can, unless it comes at the cost of our first priority. If animators could build better developer tools, we'd be first in line. Whatever the fuck you're jabbering about there, mate. So no one said shut down doing everything. What we want you to do is actually fucking admit that maybe we should put a few things on hold and just try and draw people in, like where can we channel our resources? Like it's all fine and good saying, hey, the animators can't code a new client. All right then, okay. Why don't we hire more coders, Riot? Why have you got so many animators? Why didn't you lay some of them off? And if it's a resource issue, redirect those funds. You know, what's the problem here? This is how it looks to the outsiders, and this might not be true. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Riot, but this is how it looks to everybody out there. It's like, all right, you care about this way more than you care about this, but us as players care way more about this, and you care, and we don't care about that. And it's this lack of alignment in our values and your values, the lack of alignment in what we want and where you're diverting resources, that causes all of the problems, all of the hate you're getting on the forums that you're crying about. We're overwhelmed by your passion. Yeah, well, imagine how we fucking feel. We're overwhelmed by how fucking shit the game is 6 fucking years down the road. We're fucking really overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed bashing our head against a fucking wall, wondering why we play it. We're overwhelmed when Ghostcrawler and Riot Light give the most bullshit Ask FM answers I've ever fucking heard, saying ridiculous things like, hey, our first priority might not be delivered first. Brilliant. Like, that's fucking awesome. What fucked up twisted logic do I have to even arrive at to think that that's an acceptable thing to say to people? So yeah, we're fucking overwhelmed, aren't we? Now, here's what we're not working on. Brilliant. Love this bit. Finally, some fucking transparency. Replays for now. This one was our bad. Yeah, it's just your bad, mate. You just lied to all your fucking customer and player base. Hey, our bad. You did it on more than one occasion. We all remember that fucking embarrassing Nick Allen video. Replays are coming, guys. Hey, our bad. We lied again to shut you up. Our bad. It's not fucking your bad, is it? You're lying to your customers. It's fucking deplorable, is what it is. You shouldn't be just going, our bad. You should, cap in hand, apologising. You announced at launch when fucking League of Legends came, shitting all over Dota in the Dota community, because that was the big threat. Shitting all over Hon, actually, as well, which a lot of people forget about that. You promised replays right at the fucking launch. Anyway, they admit that, and then they say, we thought it was needed to get esports off the ground. Maybe not, but by showing them on the PBE, we set the expectation that they'd be on the way soon. TM. We backed off replays because the technical demands, server loads, backwards compatibility, network stability were so high, we knew it would be hard to do them right, i.e. at all. These days, we also know that with our above priorities, replays just can't be a consideration until we clean up a lot of those systems. In the meantime, we're huge fans of the alternatives that the passionate community of developers outside of Riot have created, and we're looking into ways to highlight and support those good folks. So that probably means you're going to buy them, fucking threaten them, whatever fucked up shit you do usually to anyone that has a good idea based on League of Legends, just to get that control in there, you know, get your hooks in, even though they're just doing something that's fucking awesome and you should have been able to do, but you can't. Brilliant. So this is absolutely ridiculous. The implication here is that, first of all, it doesn't matter that we broke our promise, not once, not twice, like 3 times, that we lied to you, that we actually had no intentions of implementing replays. It just wasn't possible. It was going to be too hard, too resource intensive. There's also this implication that you don't need replays in esports. And that's a fucking joke. Like, to even have the balls to put that in there. Right? Let me tell you, Riot, as someone that's been in esports a lot longer than you, right? And somebody I know you listen to anyway. I know one of your fucking employees who'll be watching this video right now. Let me tell you, as someone that's been in esports for a long fucking time, replays, demos, whatever you want to call them, absolutely essential. Abso-fucking-lutely essential. Because how do the pros, or how do the aspiring pros even get better? How do we know who's good? What strategies are being used? How do we prepare for tournaments? How do they do that? You need to be able to fucking watch what people are doing. And you need to be able to replay it back and isolate little facets of the game and analyze things and expand your knowledge. They are fucking essential. And every game I can think of that succeeded as an esport pretty much has them. And historically, you know, nobody was like in Counter-Strike, guess we don't need replays, guess we don't need demos. Nobody said that in StarCraft. It's a ridiculous assertion that just because you can't deliver them and you've had a successful esports product anyway, actually the reasoning you've come to, the answer is esports games don't need replays. Get fucked. That doesn't even make sense. That's not fucking logical. So don't come out with that shit. People are watching VODs. People are watching their own replays through third-party sources. Basically, you're failing to deliver what your pros need, what aspiring pros need, and actually what content creators could really use. You know, you're failing on all fronts there. Don't pretend that it isn't required just because you can't deliver. That's bullshit. Now the big one, the fucking sandbox mode. Holy fucking shit. Sandbox mode, right? We've heard a number of player requests for sandbox mode with two main reasons. The first is trying out new content, which is something we value too. We want players to know that what they're getting and to be happy with the things they're unlocking. We may investigate other ways to do this. We may, whatever, we'll throw that in brackets. So, yeah. The second is that players want to practice very specific skills without the constraints of a regular game. For this point, our stance is that sandbox mode is not the way to go. We want to make sure we're clear. Playing games of League of Legends should be the unequivocal best way for a player to improve. I mean, who are you fucking paying to write this shit for you, Riot? Because nobody buys that. Nobody. You want to know how much bullshit it is? Even pro players who you can fucking fine, right, or have their entire contract terminated for doing this. It's a clause in your contract that if they criticize your game or anything to do with Riot games, you can just fuck them like that instantly, right? And yet they've still took to Twitter to call this out. Anyway, I'll read the rest of it. Try and strap yourselves in. On an individual level, we know this isn't always true. Some just want a space to practice flashing over walls without having to wait at least 3.6 minutes in between. But when that benefit is weighed against the risk of sandbox mode grinding becoming an expectation, we just can't accept the trade-off. We never want to see a day when a player wants to improve at League and their first obligation is to hop into a sandbox. We do want to support your ability to grow in mastery, and there may be other avenues to do so, but not this. Okay, so first of all, let's just operate in facts here, Riot. Let's just operate in fact. If you are the type of person that wants to practice flashing over one wall 100 times, I don't know, I'm guessing you're not some low-level fucking bronze scrub. I'm guessing you're pretty high at the game. I'm guessing you're the type of person that might even want to go pro, or you're playing at a super high level and you just want to perfect one little facet of your game. Why the fuck are you going to make those people who will have already invested thousands and thousands in hours of playing the main game? Why are you going to make them have to play more to perfect one thing? To even risk losing the game to the detriment of 4 other people just so they can put themselves in that situation specifically and be like, okay, I'm just going to flash over this wall now because I need to practice it in a game. What's that, team? You're all dead and I wasn't in the team fight. Well, at least I practiced my flash. Only another 99 games to go and I can be a master at that. What a fucking crock of shit. What a crock of shit. What are you even fucking thinking with this explanation? Then, on top of that, right, okay, let's just imagine a world where a new champ comes out, or a new spell comes out, or a new item comes out. And I, before playing a game, be it a normal or ranked, but especially ranked, I can go into a sandbox mode and practice. And in half an hour, I can get the gist, I can get the ideas, and then I go and play a game, right? Now, we've all had that game where some cunt comes in, hey, first time Tryndamere, don't flame, and he runs around and he forgets to press R and he goes fucking 0 for 10 in lane. First time, guys, and your game's just fucking null and void. Waste of your time. So imagine a world where people were actually practicing before they played games. Wouldn't that be better? Wouldn't that cut down on some of this toxicity you are so desperate to fucking combat? I don't know. Am I just using common sense here? I think I might be. Can't work in the Riot world, that, right? Then, let's just assess the fucking... this notion, right? I'm a pro player in League of Legends. I've worked my way up. I've played fucking thousands of games. I've got a contract that says I have to fucking stream on a daily basis anyway. So I'm always playing games. But, right, I've got to get better for my team. I have to improve in one area. Or I'm going to get cut, actually. They've said if I can't learn this particular skill and, rate, could be my last hitting, whatever, positional, sense, whatever it is. Flashing, spells, you pick one, right? But if I don't improve it, I'm getting cut. My career is on the line if I can't raise my game. Why the fuck do I need to be cognizant of that as I go into a regular game, a game and ranked, when actually what I should be able to do is just jump onto a sandbox mode and practice that one particular skill set until I'm at the requisite level to not lose my fucking job. Now here's if we follow Riot's logic here, I want you to imagine that you're a pro footballer or soccer player, right? If you're from the Americas, or almost anywhere else actually in the world, but we're Brits, we like to call it football. Now imagine you're a football player, and I don't know, you want to practice your free kicks. You want to practice your free kicks. You've got to. You want to be the next David Beckham. Your team doesn't have a lot of pace. You know, free kicks and good delivery, scoring goals from direct free kicks or good crosses from indirect free kicks. These are going to be super essential to the development of your team, progress of the team, and indeed the development of your own talent. What you're saying is, if we follow that analogy, right, the best way for me to learn free kicks should be by taking them in a game. I shouldn't be able to practice them. This is potentially toxic. We'll come to the quote in a second. So that's literally what you're saying to your pros. Your pros that promote your fucking game, because we all know it's one big marketing exercise. Your pros, right? And you're probably thinking, yeah, but Rich, we're Riot. We pay them the salary. They'll do what the fuck we tell them. Get a fucking grip. Get a fucking grip of yourself, right? So there is no logic to that statement. There is no way I should, as a sports person, should be denied a training exercise. And here's the thing. If you don't want it to affect new players that are younger in terms of experience, just put it in the tournament realm, client, and at least let the fucking pros have it. There's no excuse for you not to do that. There just isn't. Except the reality, the real reason, which we'll come to at the end. But first, where the fuck was that juicy little quote? Oh, hang on, I've got so many tabs open. It has been beyond belief. It has been a glorious day. Right, here we go. Pwiff, right, from Riot. See, he posted and it got gilded, right? Which, this is all you need to know about the fucking cooks, right? That fucking will just do anything for Riot. It got downvoted, his comment. Like, it's on minus 631. I'll just refresh it. Yeah, minus 1344. And it's been gilded, like, please, Riot person, notice me, right? Obviously, what he's saying is fucking cripplingly unpopular. But here's the gold. Anyway, so he says, it's a hard stance to take, but we do agree with what you're saying. That's pretty much why we opened with an agreement. Where it gets fuzzy, and then he links to a comment chain. Obviously, I can't do that. He said, if someone wants to improve their free throws, they go practice free throws. In League, that means players should have an expected mode available where they can practice combos, flashing, etc. I'm not strawmanning this thing, but that's always been a core concern when it comes to dictating behaviour. I'll explain. An answer like, players will see sandbox mode as an expectation rather than a fun tool sounds very we know better, but it's a pretty significant concern when you look at other games, i.e. fighting games, where if a player wants to get involved, they need to hop into dozens of hours of training mode first. So in a game that's orientated around players playing to improve, imagine a world where you miss one flash over a wall and your whole team tells you to quit and hop into sandbox mode. Once again, I don't think it's an ironclad stance that will convince the world. I do think it's got merit. I'd imagine everyone's had games already where someone's told them to quit playing ranked and go play normals. If an additional layer of sandbox got added underneath, that's what we're talking about. So actually, right, basically what he's saying here is you can't have a sandbox mode because it'll lead to more toxicity in game. I've already said here's a scenario where it would obviously lead to less because people would have an opportunity to practice without having to annoy potentially 9 other people. You know, because we all know the tutorial mode's dog shit. We all know bot games are a fucking pointless exercise. So what are we going to do? Like, but no. Just because some guy might say to another guy, hey, you missed your flash, so you need to go into sandbox mode, mate, because you are shit and you shouldn't play ranked. Because that sentence is going to get uttered maybe one every 10 games or something. And keep in mind, people just say all the time, quit ranked, all the time, all the fucking time. They say it anyway, quit rank, fucking uninstall, quit rank, your shit, uninstall. It happens every fucking day. But apparently, if you just change the sentiment behind that sentence and say, you should go in sandbox mode, mate, that becomes a huge, horrible, toxic manifestation of everything that's wrong with the League of Legends community. I mean, again, can you believe the fucking audacity to explain to a player base that has propelled Riot Games into this false prominence within the games development industry, right? Just the sheer volume of people playing it has made them look like a success story, when in actual fact, by almost any other metric, apart from player base, they're pretty much abject failures in a lot of ways, right? But anyway, nah, that's your fault. That you can't have it because you guys can't be trusted, and someone might say a bad thing. So fuck the pros, fuck the players, fuck everyone. We're Riot Games, we know best. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. So they then go on and start talking about, how they're going to make more content, and we're exploring a whole bunch of features to help you connect and play with new and existing friends online, even when your skill levels are pretty different. We also know that you can't play with only your friends every game, and in those cases, we'll continue working with you to build a better community. That means more tribunal stuff. You're all getting banned again. That will teach you. Make another account, buy all those skins back. I can't understand, right, why they are just going down this road and insisting on their vision, right, being way more important than what their fucking players want. And again, on a fucking casual basis, fine. But for the pros that have to play, you're always talking about competitive integrity and how important it is and how you care so much about the pro scene. Pony up and give them the tools they need to be better pros. It's just that simple. It's not even a discussion. So anyway, they end it with God, this is brilliant as well. What's next? From now on, you shouldn't be surprised by our work. You should know what areas we're prioritizing and why we're doing it. This also means we'll be experimenting with different forms of communication and transparency. And what that sentence means is, yes, we saw those Ask FM posts being posted to the front page of the League of Legends subreddit, and we saw all the negative comments they got, and we saw all the negative questions it generated, and fuck doing that ever again. Fuck doing that ever again. So what we're going to do is, we're going to find a way to engage with you less, but make you think we're engaging with you more, because we don't want that negative publicity when one of our staff speaks ridiculous bullshit in the public domain. We're going to communicate more about the bigger picture, which also means you'll be hearing about stuff before it's fully baked. So expect some details missing and some differences along the way. Yeah, like fucking magma chamber all over again. We'll repeat again, this dev blog isn't about results or new content. It's about resetting our conversations so we can talk and develop iteratively. Thanks for reading this epically long post. We're excited about all of the things, and we hope you are too. Right, so there you go. That's literally Riot fucking in a nutshell. That's what they think of all of you. All the stuff you want, fuck off. You're not getting that. All the stuff we promised, fuck off. We don't have to give you that. How bad. And here's a bunch of fucking stuff that is, as I said, just another lick of paint on a house with rotten foundations. It's incredible. It's beyond anything I've ever seen from a games developer. This is just an awful post. Anyway, just to end this video, because it's making me ill, frankly. Just to end this video, the big stumbling block here is obviously the fucking, well, replays, I guess, if you're an esports purist, in the sandbox mode. The sandbox mode for me is absolutely essential. It's something that needs to happen, and I'm going to tell you exactly why it's not happening. I've alluded to this. This is the real reason, and Riot will deny it, and everyone will go, well, what are you basing this on, Richard? You just hate Riot, you just bash Riot. Let me tell you the real reason, and if you've got an ounce of intuition, you'll be like, oh yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Think about all the things that have gone on, all the cool ideas that I just talked about earlier, and how whenever there's a fucking developer and whenever they make something that's really cool, Riot either hire them and then shut it down, or just use litigation to acquire it for themselves and pretend they made it all along. I mean, that's pretty much it, right? That's what they do, right? This is Riot Games. Like, so imagine a sandbox mode where people could be like openly doing stuff, experiment stuff. There's sandbox tools so you can specifically set up. Gets a little bit close to modding, doesn't it? Riot definitely don't want that. They don't want you setting up things that are cool and modding things, anything that basically undermines them. But equally, and this is the most important part of it, and a bunch of people have said this, players have said this, people know, they just can't deliver it. That's all it boils down to. They can't deliver it. All of this stuff about, oh, it's toxic, and no, they're lying to you. They simply can't deliver it. It's not that they don't want to. They clearly want to shut you up. That's the whole point of that fucking bullshit post. That was the point of the grovelling Ask FM answers, which were just even more infuriating for anyone who read them. They want the community to just love them, love us, love Riot Games. That's what they want, because that's how you make money, right? Yes, everything we do is amazing. Love us, community. That's what they want. The only reason they're taking this stance on sandbox mode is simply because they can't deliver it. If they could deliver it, they would deliver it. It's as simple as that. They just haven't got the means. And to admit that publicly, right, would be, look, basically, we cobbled together a shit game with spaghetti code and we didn't have any fucking clue what we were doing, and now there's no way of retroactively going back and making the things you want now, right? That's why it's not going to happen, ever. And here's the thing, yeah? Are they going to bite the bullet like Valve? You know, look what Valve are doing. We're running the old Dota 2. We've got Dota 2 Reborn coming out. Two things running concurrently. They're encouraging, like they always do, users to mod things, make things. Valve aren't interested in control. Valve are just interested in, let's make the game as cool as we can. Let's empower the community to be as cool as we can. Let's make awesome stuff. Let's take it in loads of different directions. You know, what's this? Oh, a mod where everyone's pudge and one hook instantly kills someone. It's first to 100 wins. Yeah, this is great. You do that. Riot are never going to sign off on any of that shit. So they're never going to empower you. They're never going to give you the tools you need. If they start going down that road, they start losing control. And they cannot have that. It's a house of cards. They don't want it to fall down. So next time you're asking, Riot, please, just think about everything they've said in that blog. I'm pretty sure the community are getting tired of their fucking bullshit. I got tired of their bullshit long ago. It's time for you guys to make some fucking noise, because that is unacceptable. Anyway, I'm off to do my thing. I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.